Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself, Eric?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited for this. I'm not sure if you saw the photo I posted, but last time we took a photo together, I had that awkward floating hand. I don't know what that was about, so I apologize up front.
No, I do that all the time.
Let's start with your most recent competition, the Pan American Olympic qualifier in Ottawa. Uh, how about this? I went through, it was 508 days since your last international competition. That was over 16 months, over 72 weeks. And you know as much as anybody, you can practice, you can work out, you can condition, but nothing feels as good as getting that mat under your feet. So how did it feel to be back in competition?
It felt incredible to get back to competition, especially I didn't know how many matches I was going to have. I didn't think it was going to be a full tournament. And then it ended up kind of being solid 4 matches. So to have that, it was, yeah, you just forget all the fun parts about wrestling when you add in the adrenaline and everything else.
Now, that opening match that you had was probably the toughest that you dealt with, well, and credential-wise. Linda Murray, 59-kilo world champion from 2019. And what I looked for was that opening period. It was really going to tell me a lot in how you were wrestling, and there was no hesitation. So for you, you just felt ready to roll from the gun. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I actually, I really wanted to wrestle her. You know, I literally hadn't wrestled in over a year. I mean, the last time I wrestled in 2018, it was not even a full match. You know, I got pinned at the World Championship. So really, when you go back, the only time I wrestled from January 2018, all of that, I wrestled concussed. So I honestly hadn't wrestled really a full tournament since 2017. And I just wanted to feel myself against like the best of the best to see where am I at going into the Olympics. So to get her first round was really incredible. And I was super grateful for that.
Yeah, overall, you scored 5 takedowns and won that match 2-0. And you mentioned winning 4 matches, and you qualified the United States for the Tokyo Olympic Games at 57 kilos. But can you compare the qualification from Ottawa, looking back to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia in 2016?
I mean, they're completely different experiences. It's funny because in Ulaanbaatar, in the 2016 qualification, I was cutting a ton of weight. I actually started my weight cut. My whole body seized up. I didn't think I was going to be able to make weight. Whereas this time, you know, going into Canada, I actually performed in a dance performance the weekend before. And I remember wondering, like, is this a really bad idea to do? I've just really pursued wrestling in a different way where it's just more integrating it into my life rather than like being obsessive the way that I was before. So it's nice to also have to not cut weight anymore.
And I asked for fan questions, and this is a little off topic, but Joe Dad 12 asked, why are you so good at salsa dancing? Was that something you say dance competition? Was it salsa?
Yeah. So I joined, I've been on a couple different salsa teams. However, like, let me just say that I don't consider myself good. I'm the least best on the team, which is great for me because I'm learning a lot and I'm being pushed, and it's super fun. It's a really new challenge, and I enjoy it just as much as wrestling.
So you're still doing salsa right now?
Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know that about you. That's something. See, that these are the fun parts about doing these interviews. But jumping back, let's get back on track here. After Ottawa, the United States qualifies all 6 weights for the Olympic Games. And previously, Sarah McMahon and Patricia Miranda picked up silver and bronze at the 2004 Olympic Games. That's the most medals the United States in women's wrestling has had. And I know that the Olympic qualifier got pushed, but when you look at this team that the United States could potentially put out, Sarah Hildebrand at 50 kilos, Jakara Winchester 53, yourself 57, Kayla Miracle 62, Tamara Mensah 68, 76. Is Adeline Gray? Can you guys beat that 2-medal performance?
I absolutely believe so. I believe that we can win the Olympic Games as a team, and I think some of us have spread out because of that. So I know a lot of us have made those sacrifices, and I think that this will be like probably one of the best teams we'll have going into the Olympics.
And stacking up against Japan, the women's team for USA maybe has the best shot with that team. You look at world silver for Hildebrandt, world gold medals for yourself, Winchester, Mensah Stock, and Adeline Gray. It's going to be something to pay attention to. But let's move to a meaningful loss for you. I want to, before we get into the real Olympic Games, I want to talk about, because when you're speaking to you, it's often about your world championship performances, your gold medal at the Olympic Games, but a loss somewhere had to have taught you something and educated you somehow. So is there a loss that you can point out that really took your career to that next level?
Yeah, absolutely. Losing to make the 2012 Olympic team was that pivotal moment in my life and my career for me. I think that taught me that wrestling isn't going to solve all your problems, and that that I gave 100%, and I gave, oh, I think it froze. I gave 100% of everything that I had. So it was like, well, what do you do when your best is not enough? And that just led to this really cool journey of just growing as a person and pursuing wrestling differently.
So it wasn't necessarily getting better physically. It was more from a mental standpoint.
It was, but I think, my personal opinion, sorry, that's my dog.
What kind of dog do you have, if you don't mind us asking?
I'll show you, but I cut his hair myself.
Oh, very cute. What's his name?
His name's Chip.
Chip. Hey, Chip, welcome to the show.
He says hi. But yeah, I think the working on physical stuff, I feel like that's the same as saying if you want to win a gold medal, you have to work hard. It's like, of course, that's a given. But what are you going to do above and beyond that? So yeah, there was a ton of stuff to work on physically, but I feel like I could have made the Olympic team for where I was at physically, but it was really where I was at mentally that wasn't enough.
And a lot about that 2012, we'll jump back to 2011. But before we do that, let's start here. I want to ask you, moving to the Olympic Games and your performance in Rio, do you remember as a young girl saying out loud or writing down that you're going to be an Olympic champion, or that you wanted to be an Olympic champion? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I actually, I think I still have, hold on. I think I might still have the journal.
Really?
Yeah, it's, I just saw it and I was like, do I keep this? Hold on. Yeah. So this journal.
Yeah.
I wrote in when I was a kid that I wanted to win a gold medal in folk style, and I wanted to be a 2-time gold medalist. I want to win 1 gold medal in freestyle and 1 gold medal in folk style. So anyways, I've given up on one of those dreams, but I'm still going for the 2 gold.
Yeah, so you get the gold in Rio, but a little insight behind the win, to add context to it. You wrestled Yoshida twice before the Olympic finals, once in 2011 in the World Championship, and you were down 4-0 and you got pinned. And then again in 2012, you lost the first period 2-0, you were down 4-0 in the second period, got pinned again. So not only did you not beat her, you didn't score a point. So heading in to 2016, what was that like? How did you mentally prepare for that? Because you know that, yes, of course, physically you've got better, and you said mentally you got better, but how did you prepare for that win?
I think that for that specifically, to me, wrestling Yoshida was like a gift, like a blessing. Like it was like you knew that this woman was going to retire at some point, and here's this legend in the sport, and you might never get that chance again. So I actually was super grateful that we were in the same weight class, that our paths got to cross. I remember when I was warming up before the finals match, and I told myself, Helen, don't look over at her, because if you look over, you're going to get nervous. And I look over and I see her hit this beautiful blessed double. And I was like, well, silver medal is good. Like, I had a great day. Silver medal is good. And then I was like, wait, what? Like, no, Helen, like, no, you just go for just give it your best. So yeah. So I'm happy with that. It was a good day.
You head into the second period down 1-0. And you know that just because and when you look at Japanese women's wrestling in those big matches, they show up. That is the difference between other countries and Japan. They have that ability to close out matches. So you know that you're wrestling the most credentialed wrestler ever. 13-time world champion, 3-time Olympic champion. She's coming. She wants that 4th Olympic gold. What was the message from your corner heading into that closing period?
From my corner? Honestly,
or within. It could be within as well.
Yeah. like, I know my coaches did a great job of preparing me, but when I'm wrestling and I'm in the zone, and they kind of know that, they're like, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. I was just really there. I was really present, and I loved every moment of it. It was never like, oh my gosh, I'm down, this isn't good. It was just like, you give me those next 3 minutes and like, I'm going to get it done. So I wrestled for God, and my mantra that day was, Christ is in me, I'm enough. And it was just a really cool kind of way to walk out my faith, or wrestle out my faith, I guess.
And you wrestled that out to the tune of 2 takedowns in the second period. You win 4-1, and just so emotional. And being there, it was something great to see. You just didn't know where to look, where to go, what was going on. It's like one of those out-of-body experiences that you'll forever be chasing.
Yeah.
But to say one thing and write it down to accomplishing it is 2 totally different things. And you had just accomplished a lifelong dream. When did it finally hit that you were an Olympic champion?
You know, right when the buzzer went off, I just remember thinking, like, no way. You know, I started crying, because I just thought about me, you know, as my younger self, and just like how flawed that girl was. And I just never thought that I would end up doing it. But when it became a reality, my first thought was like, oh, wow, normal people win the Olympics. Like, you don't have to be superhuman. You don't have to have a superpower, because I spent my whole life just idolizing Olympic champions, because that's what I wanted so bad. So I put them on a pedestal, and I assumed that they must be like near perfect humans in order to win. And that's just not true. You know, I won with my strengths and my weaknesses that day. So I don't know exactly when it set in. It was definitely a really big adjustment. Like, it was just different. It was a lot, you know.
Is it still, when people introduce you, like you go out somewhere and, hey, this is Helen, she's an Olympic champion. Like, people introduce me like, hey, this is Eric, he drives a Chevy, something like that. They introduce you as an Olympic champion. Is that still something that you take some time to reflect on and say, this is it, it really happened?
Not when people, no, not really in that situation. And I don't really ever tell people that I'm an Olympic champion. If they ask what I do, I'm like, oh, I'm in athletics.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Humble.
Yeah, like my dance team didn't know until the Project Runway episode. So they thought I was just this like a beginner dancer, like learning 2 left feet. Yeah, I don't know. There's moments when it's surreal, when you're like at a camp and you're around young girls, and you're just like, wow, this thing that they wanted, like I was there, and now I had it, and that's really cool.
And I mentioned in the opening of the show, you're the 3rd Olympic champion, women's wrestling Olympic champion, 6th from Rio that we've had on the show. And speaking to Erica Wiebe, I asked her, when was that moment where you switched from I'm Rio Olympic champion to I want to become Tokyo Olympic champion? And she said, well, she was walking to the mix zone. Her coach, Paul Ragusa, told her, you're just scratching the surface. You can win another one. So for you, when did you realize or set that goal that I want to be a 2-time Olympic champion?
Yeah, so I did an interview with Vogue about a month before the Olympics. And they asked me the question about what do I want to do. And I said, I want to win a gold medal, and then I want to come back to wrestling, and I want to win a 2nd gold medal, because I'm someone that I love experiences, and it's not about the accomplishment for me. It's like, I just want to know what that's like. I want to know the whole journey. Like, you pick up a book and you read it and you become the character and you're in it. Well, I don't want to just read it. I want to live it. So I've just always had so much respect for Olympic champions that come back and they put it on the line again, or they go another 4 years. And I just wanted to know what that experience was like. And they are 2 totally different things. So I've always wanted that. So that's been my goal.
And Erica said she thought that winning 1 Olympic gold was going to be the toughest thing she's ever done. But in reality, it's chasing that 2nd one. And let's go a little bit of trivia here for you. How many women's wrestling 2-time Olympic champions have there been?
Just Yoshida and Kaori, right?
Yes.
There has something there.
Only 2.
Like, that's what's cool too, because it's not cool that more countries haven't won, but it's interesting to me because when you look at the history of men's wrestling, there's so much history there. So it's almost like every country can tap into, you know, this person, like we have an Olympic champion, or that, you know, every country kind of has their own Olympic champion, or there have been a couple that have done it twice. Whereas, you know, for us, it's like, it felt like Japan has all the secrets and we just don't know how to tap into it, you know? And I think the farther along that women's wrestling has grown, and the more that it's kind of, that we've had like support in our own country. And now I see that we're like, oh no, we can do this too. So that's exciting for me.
Now you're going to be one of 5 competing in Tokyo. That is, of course, if you make the team, I have to say that. But it'll be yourself, Sarah Dosho, Natalia Vorbieva, Weeb, and Risako Kawai, all vying for that opportunity to add to that very limited list of Yoshida and Icho. What would it mean to you and to America to be a 2-time Olympic champion? And not only that, join the list of those 2 greats.
I never think about like joining lists or legacies. It's like I always take things one at a time, and I always do it to pursue excellence. So to me, I committed to this goal. I committed to 4 years. I've been through like a lot with all these physical injuries and mental, you know, all this stuff. So for me, I'm like, I made a commitment and I made a decision. So I'm seeing this through. So I think to me, that's what's really rewarding. And to get a second gold medal, well, to make the team and then get a second gold medal, that'd be an amazing experience, I imagine. So I had no idea, you know, when they ask, well, what would it feel like to win a gold medal? And you're like, it'd be amazing. And then you win it and you're like, oh, there's no words. So I'm would also be no words.
Now, your path to becoming a 2-time Olympic champion, I mentioned the last person, and I did this on purpose, was Risako Kawai. She is the 2015 world runner-up, 16 Olympic champion, 17, 18, and 19 world champion. But furthermore, when I think of 2 of the most dominant world championship performances, I think of yourself in 2017 when you outscored your opponents 52-0. I think of Risako Kawai in 2018 when she scored her world championship opponents 34-0. You 2 are going to be in the same weight class at 57 kilos. To have an opportunity to wrestle her, I want you to finish this sentence. In order, if you don't mind, in order to beat Risako Kawai, I need to do what?
In order to beat Risako Kawai, I need to be myself.
Great. And let's talk about the landscape of the weight class at 57 kilos. It's arguably the toughest weight class. I look at 57 kilos and I look at 76 kilos. Some of these names, you have Zhang Nining of China, Linda Murray, who we already talked about, Odenayo Adekaroye, Grace Bullen, Anastasia Nichita, Mse Barca. The list goes on. This weight class is something to pay attention to. So when you hear the list of those names, is there anybody that you haven't wrestled that you would want to compete against just to see how you stack up?
There might be a few people that I haven't wrestled, but also the qualifications aren't finished yet. So yeah. I would probably know more. I mean, I would love to wrestle everyone maybe once before the games, but I'm probably thinking that's not going to happen. So, you know, luckily we have like YouTube and everything we can study nowadays. So yeah, but it's, this is what I want. Like, this is my dream come true, right? Like when you think about winning Olympic gold, it's not just like you want the medal for the sake of the medal. You're like, I want it to be the toughest competition, because the point of like being the best is you want to know that, you know, that you beat everyone else that you think is incredible. So this is like really a dream come true for me to have that like this competition, which felt like the same thing at the Rio Olympics, right? Like 53 was stacked. There were plenty of girls that I had lost to before and had close matches with. So, and I wrestled 5 matches there at the Olympics, and that was everything that I wanted.
Now, you made your international debut on the senior level in 2008. Is it safe to say Tokyo will be your last run at the Olympic Games?
For now. So, yeah, my mom's like pretty smart at calling stuff, and she thinks that I'll go another one, but I'm just going to take it one at a time because I don't know. Maybe after I win my second, I just want to go ask Icho and Yoshida like how the heck they did it 3 times, because I'm so fascinated by that.
It's something that very few, even to make 3 Olympic teams is just something that is it's insane. But when it's all said and done, we'll say 5 years down the road, what will Helen Maroulis be doing if At that point, the Paris games will be over as well. So can you dancing? I mean, what else would you be doing?
I would love I would love to go into dancing. However, I think that that's just going to be like a hobby and a passion of mine. And I would like to, if I can get to that level, or I believe that I can, but it's just going to be work to get to that level. Maybe, you know, compete one day. But I think coaching and being involved in wrestling is also something that I'm really looking forward to. So I've started dipping my toe in the water with that, and I really, really like it.
Do you watch Dancing with the Stars by chance?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
do as well. My family and my girls, we have we did a fantasy pick. So
Ooh.
yeah, we're trying.
Oh,
I have Neve.
oh man,
That
that's awesome.
that's what I picked for my winners. But I'm gonna let you get out of here. But before we do so, let's run to some fan questions.
Okay.
Uh, which do you prefer? Do you prefer morning workouts or afternoon workouts?
Afternoon.
Afternoon. And you talked about being humble earlier. Sorry, that was from KRS_Clevis. This is from Garrett Steen. What is the key to staying humble? You talked about being humble earlier. So what is the key?
I don't know. I don't know that I have it figured out. I just feel like life is pretty humbling, especially when you're going for tough stuff. I just think life will humble you in that, or God will humble you. But there's a quote that I love. It says, "Humility isn't thinking less of yourself; it's thinking of yourself less," which is something that I need to work on. So that I like that quote.
I do as well. Nibu Gandua, how is your Irish accent and how is training with Conor McGregor?
Oh my gosh. Tell Lucas that my Irish accent still isn't there. And training with Conor McGregor was it was really cool. It was a blast. He's actually such a good athlete, good wrestler. Well, obviously he's a good athlete, but it was just really cool to we did wrestling, and then I tried to do a little bit of like stand-up MMA wrestling, but it was really fun.
Any chance that you train with him again?
Yeah, I would if he's wrestling, yeah. I mean, it'd be fun. His wrestling coach too is really good. So, Sergey.
This one, very important. Weeble_Ben asks, is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Is on my diet, so
I saw that and I was like, where do you guys come up with this? Last one, and this is one that we get a lot. A lot of people ask, how many times do you practice a day? But Marion Magusala asks, what is the best exercise for explosive power?
Man,
Tough
I
one,
think
right?
yeah, I just do what my strength coaches tell me to do. But I've heard like Olympic lifting, which I like, and then I think also you can do stuff within wrestling to train that specifically. If you're looking for power within wrestling, you probably should do some stuff within like right within the move. So
Well, great. Helen, can you please tell everyone where they can follow you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media, and give your fans words of encouragement, if you will?
awesome. Yeah, so you can follow me at Helen_Maroulis, which is in the top left corner because otherwise it's like kind of hard to spell. And then words of encouragement, well, for wrestlers out there, I just wish you guys the best, especially during, you know, this kind of tough time in this pandemic. I'm sure it's been different and hard for everyone, but I think as wrestlers, we're all resilient, right? And we're all hopeful. So, you know, we've been through a lot before with wrestling being dropped and us working together to come back. So I believe that we'll all be resilient again through this. So hope everyone's safe and that your families are safe. And I just wish you guys the best. And thanks, Eric, for having me here.
Yes, we will wrestle again. I want to thank you so much for taking time. And wrestling fans, if you're not doing so already, please follow United World Wrestling on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. That's going to do it for this week's episode of UWW Live. Until next time, so long, wrestling fans.
Bye.